Welcome back to our Dennis Committee flashback. For the closing word on his remarkable career, let's hear once again from his 7 colleagues who over the years shared the broadcast box with Dennis.
How good was Dennis Committee? Oh, simply the best. He's, there's something about the way Dennis just is able to bring in the whole narrative in commentary and just bring so much colour to any particular game.
I think what we all love about Dennis, he's unassuming and humble, but he had the fantastic commentator's voice, that sort of silky, dulcet tones, and particularly in the AFL, I mean the knowledge, because he's, and Bruce McAvaney's the same, their ability to know the game, to read the game, not only to describe it and commentate on it, but to know what's going, getting a feel for what was going on within the game. I think the voice and the knowledge, they're the things that will stick in my mind that made Dennis great.
Oh, look, I think, I don't want to be biased, I think Bruce and Dennis, I'm going to say a tie, but he's the best. He's the best. It's very hard to split the two. He was that good.
I remember him doing other sports, you know, I remember him doing the swimming at the Olympics, but I guess footy was always the one for me that you loved listening to his calls, and there's no doubt in my mind that him and Bruce are miles in front of everyone else, and I love Dennis's call.
There's a few voices that I think are associated with sports, and I think that's the highest acclaim. I think Richie Benaud in cricket, Gordon Bray and rugby union, and Dennis Cometti, not only in football, but also with the Olympics for me growing up. So when you say how good was Dennis, I reckon simply Dennis was as good as we've ever seen or heard.
It's always difficult to say that somebody's the absolute best of anything because, you know, Usain Bolt comes along after Carl Lewis or Roger Federer comes along after Rod Laver, but I think it's fair to say that collectively, most Australians think that Dennis Cometti is the most outstanding football commentator, Aussie rules commentator that we've seen, and I think he is.
Dennis Cometti's voice is iconic to me. It's almost a voice of my childhood as well. I remember Richie Benaud's voice in the summer and Dennis Cometti's voice standing out in the winter to me.
Now, I've said this to Dennis, I didn't want to embarrass him at any stage, obviously, but Dennis is world-class commentator. We are blessed to have so many world-class commentators here at Channel 7, and I said this to him, and I watch a lot of sports across the world, he could be the Dennis Cometti of American football, of baseball, of any of their sports in the States, right across the world. He is world-class. He measures up by any standard to the very best there is in the world.
Two things with Dennis made him absolutely brilliant. He was as quick on his feet and as fast as any television performer of any era and any genre. He could think on his feet like anyone. But at the same time, he did as much homework and as much preparation as anyone before him or anyone that will come after him.
He makes an average piece of play very good and a good piece of play sensational. And you know, when you sit back and watch a replay now, you go, wow, you know, he makes it sound brilliant.
Then just that quick wit at times where he'll throw in something and still 5 minutes later I've worked out what he's just said and have a little chuckle. Then just so clever, so quick, but can also really just nail the tempo of the game in the big moments of the game.
One thing that I learnt from Dennis early on was that he was his own man. There's a lot of chat that goes on in the room prior to the match and a lot of things are talked about. Dennis wouldn't engage in any of that. He would be solitary. He would be just on his own, thinking, and he wasn't influenced by other people's opinions.
On a Sunday afternoon, Lee and I would get there early because we were doing the soapbox, then the door would open and down would come Dennis. Hair immaculate, he'd always just be lugging his bag that went on wheels, and Dan with his sunglasses on would give a wave to everyone, and everyone would just lift because Dennis was in the room. He was universally admired by those that called with him. The players wanted to be put into a Comettiism, and those behind the camera and the producers just loved him.
We all know Dennis as a brilliant orator and slightly left of centre, a little bit different, not exactly cut from the mould, and he was exactly that as a coach. He used to wear these magnificent three-piece suits. He would give stirring half-time and three-quarter time addresses. He was the first waffle coach to have an elevated coaching position built so that he could look down on the ground, something that he'd got used to as a broadcaster, but lamented that they didn't have for the coaches. He was different. I used to go out and listen to him at quarter time and three-quarter time, and he could inspire people like no one else I'd ever seen.
I think he's a genius. I mean that. He's eccentric, he's singular, he's different, he is unique. There's only one Dennis, and I think he's the best I've heard.
I'm always going to remember Dennis for just how open he was around and off air, off camera. His just ability to bring you into the fray and just, I guess, teach you the little things about broadcasting, and I'll always cherish the moments we've had together on air, even though I've only been with him for a small part of his career.
Fortunately, I'll remember the fact that I got to spend some time with him, and he's a great bloke, but I'll also remember him being one of the best sports commentators that Australia's had.
The times that I spent with Dennis on a plane or at dinner or in a green room or waiting for makeup or on a commentary desk, easily the best times of my professional life, no doubt.
I'll always remember Dennis as a bit of a fatherly figure for me, and someone who always gave me advice if I asked for it, was unbelievably generous with his time.
He's going to be missed, but as I told him, no one's irreplaceable.
It was a joy, it was a pleasure to be part of football alongside Dennis Cometti, and I think the football world's actually going to miss Dennis too.
Well, I think you always remember icons in any profession, and Dennis has been an icon of the broadcasting world for decade after decade. I think he's even old enough that he was broadcasting and calling when I played way back. So he's an icon of the sport. It's been a pleasure to have shared the airwaves with him a little.
Their day, their year, their joy.
Well said. Fitting words for a true legend of Australian sport. Boy, I enjoyed the show. I hope you did. We're off to the MCG now. It's a big match. It's Collingwood against the Adelaide Crows.